Hi guys, this is Lala and welcome to my space, my money space, where we talk about money and all things related to money. The purpose of this video is really to help each other to grow, to enlighten ourselves. I am not a financial advisor, nor am I a financial planner. If you require any financial advice, go to a certified financial advisor. Here we have conversations, we spark debates, and yeah, all in the quest to learn. So quickly, I just wanted to read a scripture or just to narrate a scripture, and yeah, that's in Matthew 25 verse 14 until verse 30. This is the story about the master that is leaving and gave his servants talents, or gave his servant coins or bags of money. It says that the master was leaving, so he called his three servants and he's like, you, I'm gonna give you 5, you, I'm gonna give you 2, you, I'm gonna give you 1. And he left. After a while, the master came back, and now he was looking for a report with what they did with their money. The first guy says, the one who had 5, he's like, okay, I put the money to work. And in fact, the Bible calls it, he put his money to work actually. Yeah, and it gave birth to double basically. So he had 5, now he had 10. Master is happy, great. Second guy did exactly the same thing. He had double, he had 4. Everybody is happy. Now the last guy who had 1, he decided to put it under a bed. Okay, and his money didn't give birth to anything, so his money didn't produce more money. And the master called him lazy. But I like what the master said in verse 27, and it says, well, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned I would have received it back with interest. Yes, interest in the Bible. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I've actually never seen that part, so there are many types of people with different financial habits. There are those, when they receive money, they're always thinking, what can I do to make this money give birth to itself? Another person like, I'm going to preserve it. Another person is going to go into debt with it. But I think the point I'm trying to put out on this specific text and scripture is the fact that it doesn't matter how much you have in your hand. If you have bad financial habits, they will follow you. Even if you earn 10,000 and you make bad financial decisions, even if you earned 100,000, I tell you, you will still make the same decisions. The guy who had 1 talent, even if the master had given him 10, I tell you, he would have done exactly the same thing. Even the Bible says that the master gave them each according to their ability. So I think he learned their patterns for how are these people, So anyway, that was the point I was trying to put at, to say it doesn't matter how much you have in your hand. What matters is what you do with it. What matters is your mentality and your attitude towards what you have in your hand. But anyway, let's get back to what we were supposed to talk about. I posted a scenario where we speak about this person who has 20,000 net, and this person has a car where they're paying 10,000 including insurance and petrol, etc., and they are staying in a flat where they pay 6.5, and they have Netflix and Showmax and credit cards and clothing accounts and long stories, and so I'm not going to go into detail. And I ask people to give suggestions, solutions, what the person can do to come out of this sticky situation. This video is really to help a person who is in that situation currently. Because guys, we're living in difficult times. There are people who are already stressed every time they think of month end and payday. They're stressed because their money is just going to be charged by vouchers. And it's also for those who are on their way there, to help them make a U-turn. Maybe one day we will talk about not relying on our salary, extra income. But for now, we are just talking about if you have a salary or whatever and you are in a sticky situation, what can you do to come out of that? So I'll try and keep this video in less than 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna quickly read through what people have suggested. So everything I say, my opinion is my opinion. That is not the word. It's not the final thing. Everybody has their own opinion. I agree with what people were saying. Even if I say something else, guys, it is not the final word. If you feel you disagree, please let me know so we can have a talk about it, a debate about it, and open it up for discussion. Because at the end of the day, I don't know everything, and we are here to learn. We are here to learn from each other. So okay, let me just quickly go through what people have been saying. One person says, get a roommate and pay a half the rent. Take back the car, though there's probably going to be residual, and there's probably going to be shortfall. Another person says move down on the DSTV, go out once in a month, stop buying clothes for a year, continue paying your debt. The other one says take back the car for a better installment. The other one says remove everything and be left with Netflix. One says return the car for an affordable one, pay off credit card and clothing. Another one says stay in your lane, choose where to buy your clothes. One says trade in if you've been paying for 2 years, even though there'll be a shortfall. Another one says move to a cheaper place, downgrade for where you buy your food, your clothes, and DSTV option you need to downgrade. Someone says change your fiber, where you end up paying less. And also DSTV allows multiple devices, so speak to your parents, speak to your friends who have accounts, and then share that, and then so that you mustn't pay all these things alone. Also said that you can have a lift club or use taxes to save your petrol, and that way you can create money to pay off your credit card and your clothing account. And the last person says downgrade your car, where you pay at least a maximum of 5k including everything instead of 10. And the last point was move into a back room. What an interesting solutions that they gave, and I totally agree with everything that people said. I like that, honestly speaking. So yeah, I think the gist of the matter with what everybody was saying was you need to downgrade so that you can pay off your debt first, or pay off your smaller nyana debt, and which I totally agree with. If you have a car and you have a credit card and you have a clothing account, the first thing I guess I would suggest you do is close down every small debt that you have: the credit card, the clothing account. That's where you need to start. That's just my solution, start there. But anyway, I wrote down some few pointers for a person like this who has found themselves. So first things first, I would say you need to admit that you have a problem. I guess that's like 101, AA 101. You need to admit that you have a problem, that you've been making decisions, and the decisions that you've been making have not yielded to good results, and that things need to change. So you need to decide. We cannot decide for you, even if we can suggest and bring solutions. If you don't want to change, it won't happen. So you need to decide that you want to change. 2, you need to learn to work on your patience. You need to learn to say, if I want something, I wait for it. That's the second thing. Third thing, you need to get to a point where you set a time limit to say, what is your rehab time? What's your detox time? If it's a year, I like what the lady said, that you need to at least not buy clothes for a year. You give yourself that to say, in 1 year, no clothes, nothing. Guys, I'm gonna live like a poor person, so that you can save money to close off your accounts, to close off your credit card, cut physically with the card, cut it, remove it, everything. Make sure that you tell yourself that I'm just gonna focus this year. This is my year of detox. This is my year of change, and start it. Right. And also I like the idea that was brought about about the Netflix and DSTV. Let's take advantage of that. If your mom and your dad are paying DSTV, use that. If somebody, speak to them and all that stuff, so that you can be able to save up a bit on that. And also the lift club, I like that. The lift club really helps. I'm speaking from experience. Have the lift club, use taxes if needs be, so that you can create more money. But I think most importantly, you need to have a goal. Why are you saving? Why do you want to keep all these things? What's your purpose? What's your reason for wanting to kill all this debt? So have a clear vision on why you're doing that stuff, so that you mustn't get lost in just cutting down your credit cards and all the stuff without any reason. So think about that. So yeah, and I'll also suggest that you must be liable to somebody. If you want to go this route, get somebody and say, you know what, I'm going on this journey where I am changing my life, and I need to be accountable to you. Also surround yourself with people with good financial decisions, who make good financial decisions, so that they can help you. We can help each other, read and watch videos like this. So at least maybe it will keep you in check to say, okay, let me not focus on that, let me focus on this. And one big thing, guys, pressure. Cut off the world. My gosh, I realize the things that we do is really to impress people who do not care about us. We will just double click and double like on your page and share maybe if you get a nice car. But if you're dying, we are not there. At the end of the month, when the car takes and debits take, we are not there. We liked and we've moved on. We even forgot that you exist. So honestly, this thing of living for people, living for family, oh my gosh, this person also mentioned that what you show people, that's how they react. So if we're in family gatherings, you want to show who you're the one with the money, they will come to you to say, borrow us 5,000. I can't want to show who you have all the money. And sometimes because you are here, you cannot say no. And the problem with this thing of buying this expensive stuff, it's like a ripple effect. You start with an expensive car, even the flat that you stay in must go along the lines of the expensive car, even the phone that you hold, even the hair, the clothes. You're no more buying clothes for 100 rand, now you're buying a shirt for 500 rand because hey, a career must go with the life. And that's the danger of it. Once you start, it's like flattening the curve is going higher. But we need to be able to cut people off, guys. We need to say no. If we do not have the means, it's okay. I can't. I will not. I don't have the money. If you do, so if you do, go ahead. But if you don't, it's okay to say no. And in terms, so let's just say yes, you are cutting off the credit cards, you're paying it off and all that stuff. So now what about the car and the house? Let's just have a quick conversation about that. Someone mentioned you need to move back to a back room. There are those who can, and oh my gosh, I commend people who are able to do that for their reasons. Maybe they want to buy, maybe they want to build a big house at home, they want to buy something for their parents or balakulobola and all that stuff. People can actually do that. I know that with my husband, in the process of getting married, yes, he had a car, he could afford to stay in Midrand, but he had to stay in a bedroom because he wanted to get married. So he had to make a choice to say, I'd rather stay here, in this room, so that I can get to my financial goals. So if needs be, really push comes to shove, you move back to a bedroom. You move to a bedroom. If not, if you feel like, okay, really you can't, do the whole idea of get somebody to come stay next to you. It doesn't kill you. It might be uncomfortable, but remember, you're doing it for your period. If it's a year, you decide, I'm going to do this for a year, it's for a period. I know of a guy, I was speaking to him earlier today, and he was explaining how he had a car and he had a house and he wanted to get married, and the things was just not hlanganing, guys. So what he did was take back the car, and so that he can focus on saving for Lobola and also to do the house, redo the house and stuff like that. And he actually got somebody to come stay with him, and then they were paying half towards the bond, which was great. We get to that point where you start to live uncomfortable lives for the comfort of tomorrow. You sacrifice today for tomorrow. So if needs be, guys, you need to get to a point. If you don't want to move to a bedroom, then get somebody to come share the place with you. And now let's quickly talk about time. Let's quickly talk about the car. A lot of people are saying take back the car. Downgrade, get a cheaper installment. Guys, I need to say this. Taking back a car is not as easy as it seems. If let's just say this person was paying 8,000 rand for a car, and let's just say this person got the car for 300,000. It's a four ring kind of car, and it was 300,000, and maybe the time we are talking about this person owes 220. That's the settlement amount. And then a dealership says we can buy your car for 150. That means there's a 70,000 shortfall. For those who are saying go take your car and get a cheaper car, guys, let's not forget there are situations like that where there's a big shortfall. One, it's very rare for banks to agree for you to bring back your car while you still owe, because what that would mean is that somebody will buy it for 150, but there's a 70,000 debt that you still have. There's a 70,000 debt that you still have that you still need to pay. Most banks decline such things. Most banks don't want. You must be holding 70,000 rand cash in front of them and say boom, then they close it. But for those that do allow, right, there is an option of continuing to pay for the debt without a car, which is very hard. The guy I was speaking to earlier, right? He did exactly that. He's explaining how he took back the car. He didn't have a car for almost a year, guys. Almost what? This is a person who had a car. Now all of a sudden, you don't have a car. It is possible. You know, if the bank allows, then take back the car. Don't have a car. Tell them, you know what, continue taking your 8,000 so that I can finish this debt in less than 10 months, or I can finish in 8 months. And after 8 months, you have no debt, you have no car, and you can start from scratch. But also, if you don't want to go that way, and maybe your life really doesn't allow you to not have a car, you know, and this is only in terms of work, guys, not hey, I wanna go see my friends. This is like work, and you're working far, and there's no transport and all that stuff. Really, if you can't, then there is an option of downgrading. But if you're gonna save 1,000 rand or 2,000 rand from your current car to your next car, guys, I don't know. I don't think that's worth it. If the person is still gonna pay 6,000 rand on installment, and in total you're gonna pay 8,000 rand, I don't think you saved enough. Really, when you get a cheaper car, you must really go down. What I mean by this is, if you're paying 8,000 rand for your car, go get a car that maybe you're supposed to pay 2,000. So that whatever shortfall they're gonna add, maybe it's gonna get to 3,000. Imagine now you're paying 3,000 for a very quiet, maybe a car that is 7 years old, you know, maybe that. But now don't go get a car that costs 5,000 and then they put the shortfall on top of that, and then you still pay 6,000, 6.5. Then what was the point? And guys, also you need to understand, I spoke to a car broker today. You need to understand that also most banks don't allow that. Most banks, sometimes you might be in luck and the banks allow, but most banks don't allow you to just say, take my 220 car, 80,000 car. Highly possible, but it's possible. But I'm just saying that the chances of the banks allowing that are quite slim. You know, so that would really be a stretch. So I guess what you can do, really, I would really suggest the first option. If your bank allows, take back the car and not have a car, and pay off the debt and start from scratch. Yep, you have a roommate, you start from, and you have a lot of money that you can do and become like that guy who had 5 talents, and invest in something that will give you more money, instead of just when you see money, you thinking liabilities, you know. And yeah, guys, so that's basically it. I think one day, we're gonna do a video about cars. I'm gonna sit with the car broker that I spoke to. He's my cousin, and I think we're gonna do a video about that, so that when the lockdown is over, you know, so that we can teach each other about these things and help each other not to make mistakes that other people have made, you know. Like the brother said that I spoke to in the morning, he says, isolation brings revelation. Oh my gosh, when you cut off the world and it's just you alone, and you're looking at your finances alone, you make decisions that's best for you. But as long as the world is in your circle and influencing the decision, I tell you, you will not go forward. But anyway, I hope you learned something. Learn to say no if you don't have money, guys. Learn to say no, and cut off that credit card. Cut off that clothing account and pay it off. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.